Thank you. So I'm going to start off with a true story about my 8th grade life, which are always the best kind of stories. Whenever someone starts off a story with, when I was in elementary or middle school, you know it's going to be great. So in 8th grade, I used to ride the bus, and I had this friend named Joe on the bus. And his mom was like, she sheltered him really, really hard.
Speak up!
She sheltered him very, very hardly. And he wasn't allowed to do a lot of stuff. He never went to sleepovers. He wasn't allowed to stay out of his house past like 6 o'clock. It was really lame. But it's funny because he ended up having a kid the other day, which is pretty good. So that's why you don't do that. Parents. So while we were on the bus, his mom, it was really weird because his mom was really like very, very inappropriate. Because she told us the story of how to pleasure a woman. When we were in 8th grade, she's like, you just take their nipples, you just do it. So 8th grade us, we're like, yeah, of course. So we tell everyone. My friend Joe and my friend Tyler and I, we tell everyone that we know. It's like, you just gotta, And, well, we decided to tell people on the bus, and the bus driver overheard us. And that's not okay to say that. As a middle schooler, you're not allowed to talk about touching women's nipples. And, so she calls Joe's mom. She's like, are you telling kids how to have sex? And Joe's mom was like, what? No, that's weird. And then she remembers like, oh yeah, it was a story, it wasn't anything big. She's like, if it ever happens again, they're kicked off my bus and all this stuff. And they're like, it got really serious really fast. And it was really bad. Like, she called my mom, and her mom was like, what are you talking about nipples for? And I was like, I don't do that. When I was in 8th grade, I didn't even know what nipples are. So I listened, and I was like, I guess, okay. So that incident forever became known as the bop it nipple situation between my friends and I, because Twisted. If you guys don't know what bop it is, it's like a game where there's a whole bunch of different kinds. There's a normal bop it, which just has a button that says bop it, and then there's a pull it and a twist it, and then there's like bop it extreme, which has a spin it and a flick it too. So you always have to have that one friend who takes every joke like a step too far, you know? So my friend Tyler, he came up with a system of ranking nipples, or boobs more so, because we couldn't see nipples. It started with spin it was the lowest. Then you had flick it, twist it, and pull it. This was his system. Whenever we saw it, and this is how it would go. We'd be just sitting down, and even like he ended up leaving when I was like in 10th grade. But between that 8th and 9th grade year, we had great fun with the bop it system of nipple placement. So it would just go something like this. We'd be sitting down at lunch, we'd look over, and he'd be like, hey, Alexis, look at those pullets over there. So I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna. Those are some pullets, man. Those are some pullets. And he eventually joined the army, and he left. But he came back, and he thought about this joke, and he remembered it after some time. So we were just kind of hanging out, and he sees this chick, right? And I didn't know who this chick was at the time. So he goes, hey man, look at those pullets over there. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, it was funny back then. And I'm like, oh jeez, those are some pullets. So he's like, go over there and tell her that she has some pullets. And I'm like, I'm not going to go tell her that she has some pullets. Like, just do it. She won't even know. It won't even be funny because she won't know. But it'll be funny to us. I'm like, okay. Like, over, I'm like, ma'am, you have some pullets. She's like, are you talking about my boobs? I was like, oh god. How did she know? And then Tyler comes over and he like hugs her and kisses her. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is my wife. Which was the worst part, because I was like, oh, I just told your wife she has some pullets. And she knew the whole story, so she didn't think it was that weird. But to me, thank you, it was pretty nice. But it felt a little bit more awkward to me, because I didn't want to tell them. To me, they were more like flickings. Thanks, everybody.